Welcome to the quick start tutorial to Dragon Lords, the Battle of Darion, a 2-player skirmish-based card game from Wolf Lord Games. In Dragon Lords, you build an army of dragons, knights, monsters, and heroes. Cast spells to give orders to vanquish the enemy's army. Be the first to 50 points, or be the last army standing. For the game, you'll build an army deck, a spell deck, and an order deck. For the purpose of this video, it will mainly go through gameplay, but here's a brief overview about what makes a deck. When constructing a deck, you'll select if you want to build a good or an evil aligned deck. You'll have access to cards in the alignment you choose, plus you can pick cards from the neutral alignment. The army deck has a cap of 55 points, which is up to the player to add the number of dragons, knights, units, and upgrades they like. An army can only have one hero of each type and up to 3 duplicates of other cards. The order deck has a limit of 20 cards of 20 points and a spell deck limit of 10 cards of 10 points, which the capacity can be increased if they have any mages. First, place all the tokens and dice in the side where both players can reach them. These tokens are the damage, gem, potion, conditions, and bound. Shuffle the summoning deck and place it off to the center where players can reach it. Looking at the play area, it has 3 sections. The shared battleground in the middle and each of the players starting kingdoms across from each other. Each player now readies their army, placing them in the sides of their kingdoms. Next, the players take both mounted tokens and flight tokens for each of these units that use them. Both spell and order decks are shuffled and then cut by the other player. Each player draws 3 cards from their order and spell decks. Then they gather 2 gems and 3 healing potions and place it in their area. 2 location cards are drawn by each player and 1 is selected randomly as the starting location. Now both players roll a 6-sided die. The player with the highest result will go first and get the initiative token. Before beginning a round, the first player resolves any location, start of round bonuses, spells, or orders. Let's now begin the game. At the beginning of the round, after resolving any start of round effects, the player with the initiative token starts. When taking their turn, the active player chooses one of their units to do up to 2 orders. Once a unit has finished during their order, it passes to the opponent and they do their turn. Once all units have been activated, the round ends. The end of the round phase plays out, and the addition passes the initiative token to the next player. The player with the initiative token begins the new round. Let's go through the order mechanism in detail. The active player chooses one of their units to take 2 orders. There are a good number of different orders that players can do, from playing spells to using healing potions. The most common orders will be playing spell cards, order cards, and orders listed on the activated unit. Unit orders can be found on the unit's text box, which can be noted by this dragon symbol. Some orders can even take up to 2 order actions and thus the whole player's turn. Also note that the crown symbol here can be activated by rolling a crown with the magic or battle die. Order cards are simply played and discarded as long as the requirements have been met in the red box. Spells may also need some special requirements in order to be cast, and the unit may also need to spend mana. A unit's mana can be found on the top right on the diamond icon. Players can indicate mana remaining on a unit with mana tokens. Discard the card after it carries out its effect. In this example, the player selects the High Priest half-elf and uses their first order to heal. The player uses 1 die and heals the High Priest by removing tokens of the result. Since the elf is a cleric, it's able to use the spell Cloak of Light, which requires 2 mana. The player places 4 mana tokens to show that she has 4 mana left. Cast the spell after you have defended against an attack to block 1d3 of damage. Healing potions can be used as an order to remove damage already on a card. The number of damage can be removed is next to the potion icon of the unit card. Either the current unit or another unit in the same zone as the other can apply the potion. The potion token is returned to the supply after use. To gain more potions, you can spend 3 gems to gain a single potion token, and this doesn't take up an order to do so. Gems have other uses and can be gained through rolling the special dice and by various orders. Without spending an order, anytime during your turn, you can spend 3 gems to draw 1 spell or order card from the top of the deck, or spend gems to activate some units' orders. Positioning units for attack is key, and moving units around is how you do it. For 1 order, the player moves any unit up or down an area. Also, there are orders that reorganizes players' armies. For an order, a knight mounts or dismounts a dragon by placing or removing the mount token. Also for an order, knights are mounted on dragons can take flight or land, and it's shown again with the flight token. When together, both units move as one. Here's a closer look looking at mounting and moving. Dildrak the good dark elf wants to mount Eldrax the dragon. Dildrak must be a knight, which he is, and the dragon is ready to mount. Dildrak is activated and 1 order is used to mount. He is placed beside Eldrax with the mount token. For the second order, Dildrak moved to the battlegrounds, and both Dildrak and Eldrax move as 1 unit. Attacking and destroying units is the way to win. You can attack with your active unit with one of your orders, and you may only attack once a turn. This includes any order cards or order abilities that has an attack. Each unit may have 1 or more abilities that can modify attacks at other points during the game. These will provide the units with certain bonuses in attacks and other various effects. There are 2 types of abilities, selective and innate. Selected abilities found at the top of the text box can be used by a unit and an order is not required to activate it. Innate abilities, found right above the selected abilities, are always active and give positive or negative bonuses based on class, race, alignment, and others. For an order, and only once a turn, attacks can be made in melee or range. The unit will roll a number of dice depending on their stat found on the bottom of the card. For melee attacks, the number next to the sword icon shows how many dice needs to be rolled. The red icon means that the red battle die will be rolled with the attack and activates before the results are made. Melee attacks only target a single unit in the same zone, so units in the player's kingdom cannot do melee attacks to units in the battlegrounds. For range attacks, the value next to the arrowhead icon shows how many dice that needs to be rolled. A blue icon next to it will show if a blue magic die is rolled with the attack roll and will also be activated before the results. However, range attacks for each zone will suffer damage penalties. Attacks 1 zone away will suffer -1 to the damage results. Attacks 2 zones away will suffer -2 to attack results and must pay 1 gem. In order for an attack to hit, it must be equal or greater than the defender's unit armor rating, found next to the armor icon. The number of hits made is equal to the number of successes for each die. When doing the attack, the player rolls both all the attack dice and any red or blue die at once. Both the blue die and red die will produce either gems, extra damage, activate crown abilities, or an extra order to use. They must be activated before the attack resolves so to earn any bonuses given. After fighting all the successful hits, the defender rolls their dice based on the number of hits given. They block those hits based on the defense rating found next to the shield icon at the bottom of the defending unit's card. Each die result that is equal or greater than the defense rating blocks a hit. Any hits that goes through damages the defending unit for each hit that was not blocked. Damage tokens are placed to show how much damage the unit has received. Once a unit has equal or more damage to its health, which is also the same as its cost, then it's destroyed and removed from the game. The player earns points equal to its health. If the unit has any upgrades, then all is removed with it, and also the player scores the upgrade points as well. Remember, when the active unit attacks, it can no longer attack for the remainder of the turn, even with any special effects. When the player is done with the unit's turn, it's tilted to the side to show that it cannot act for the rest of the round and the turn passes to the next player. And now here's an example of an attack. Before attacking, the elite archer moves to the battlegrounds to have a closer shot at the opponent. This elite archer only has a range attack. She uses her order, Dual Shot, that allows her to perform an attack and split the damage between 2 enemy units. So she targets the Lich Lord and the Shadow Druid. Although attacking from 1 zone away, her innate ability allows her to gain an attack hit, negating the range penalty. She rolls all 7 dice in her dice pool plus the battle die. She got an extra damage from the red die and got 5 more hits from her dice that breaks both the Lich Lord's and Shadow Druid's armor. 3 hits go to the Lich Lord and 3 hits go to the Shadow Druid. The Lich Lord rolls 3 dice for defense and needs 3 or higher to block for each hit. It got 1 success, so the Lich Lord suffers 2 damage. The Shadow Druid, however, couldn't roll high enough and takes all 3 damage. The Shadow Druid now has enough damage to be destroyed. It is removed from the play area and the 8 points is scored. In the common case of a player finding all their units have been activated when the opponent has more, the player simply skips their turn. If a player has ready units but wants to do nothing on their turn, they burn a unit by tilting it sideways, losing any orders and skipping their entire turn. Used units cannot be activated once again and also cannot play any spells or orders until the next round. The end of the round is triggered when all units of all players have been used. At this time, any end of round abilities and effects trigger with the player with the initiative token acting first. Then the location, conditions, and spell bonuses trigger in the same manner. Next, ready all unit cards so they are upright. Then each player draws 3 orders and 2 spells to their hand. Finally, the initiative token passes to the next player and that player starts the new round. Remember, the player that wins is the one to get 50 points first or have the last army standing. A bound token is used to indicate a bound creature to a unit. Bound creatures of a unit move together when its unit moves. The bound creature that spends an order to move to another zone away from its unit becomes unbound and no longer moves with the unit. When a bound is broken and after spending its remaining orders, it gets immediately shuffled back into the summoned deck. If it gets destroyed, it is also shuffled back into the deck. Defeated summoned creatures are never worth points. Bringing out creatures from the summoning deck will add another unit to your army. A player can summon these creatures from effects. When one of these creatures come out, they cannot attack until the next round and the unit is bound to the unit that it was summoned from. There are a couple of rules to note. Upgrades give a unit extra abilities and may give them extra order effects. These cards are available at the start when the player is building their army. When assigned to a unit, it is permanently attached and cannot be transferred. When the unit is destroyed, any upgrades are destroyed with it and the opponent receives points for their unit and the upgrades attached. Upgrades must meet all its restrictions in order for it to be assigned. For example, Plate of the Dragon can be assigned to any line unit who is a knight or a warrior. You can have multiple copies of upgrades and any number of upgrades can be attached. You may not equip the same unit with the same or similar type of upgrade. Both shields and weapons have this restriction. Sets can increase the upgrade effects when equipped on a single unit. Upgrades can take damage and destroy upgrades are worth points for the opponent. And dragons cannot be assigned weapon, shield, and armor upgrades, and note upgrade restrictions for dragons. This concludes the quick start tutorial to Dragon Lords, the Battle of Darion. For more information about this game, please visit wolflordgames.com. The Cardboard Stacker likes to thank Wolflord Games for sponsoring this video. And thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like, subscribe to this channel, and support us on Patreon. This is the Cardboard Stacker reminding you to keep on stacking games.